Hey everyone, welcome to Take the Black Live, the weekly show where we go over all things Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire. To our longtime viewers, you may notice Kayla Knierim has moved on to greener pastures in LA, but we are happy to welcome Cheryl Wassenaar of Culturess.
Hi everyone.
As the new co-host of Take the Black Live. Happy to have you here, Cheryl.
I'm happy to be here, Dan. I've filled in before, so longtime viewers might know me already, but I'm here on a pretty much permanent basis now, so that's pretty exciting.
I love that we're talking about longtime viewers. I mean, you guys are great. You've seen us before. But yeah, Cheryl will be here. And Cheryl, you cover some of Game of Thrones for your work at Culturess.
That's an understatement.
So I look forward to having spirited discussions with you about what's happening on set, what's happening off set, what's happening in the books, everything. Hey, everybody, for watching. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Anna. Hey, Diane. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Michael. Hey, other Michael. Michelle. Sue. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we are here to talk about. Let's just jump right into it, Cheryl.
Let's do it.
So, Game of Thrones Season 8. We're here to talk about that.
Yes.
We know that they're wrapping up. Things are running up there. They're almost done,
which is crazy to me.
It is kind of crazy. It's you know, it's exciting because of course we want to see the final season.
Naturally.
But it's, you know, I'll admit this. It hasn't really I haven't gotten melancholy yet. And I wonder if I will eventually. Just like this thing that I've been sort of voted for a few years now is just going to end.
I don't know if I've moved into the pure melancholy state yet, just because we still have at least until 2019.
Yeah.
And then the spinoffs are going to come probably right after that. But I've kind of moved into that bittersweet aspect of it where it's like, you mean I don't have to pay attention to where every single cast member is?
I'm gonna miss
at all
it
times?
in a way.
Right? You kind of do. You get used to the tracking and, you know, seeing how the fans pay so close attention. But at the same time, it is. It's kind of wild, honestly.
By the way, Kenny has noticed that I got a haircut, which is true.
You did. You look good with it, though.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's like, it's great, but I'm also a little sad that there won't be this thing to pay attention to anymore. I'm sure there will be other things for me to pay attention to.
There always is something. But you're right. It'll be different. People who might be a little more upset or more melancholy are the cast members.
Of course.
Okay, so we're going to piece through this. Apparently, the cast and crew had this wrap party, which kind of brings home in a big way that the show is over.
Right.
And it happened last weekend in Belfast. Tons of people gathered. Everyone from current cast members. You know, you got your Emilia Clarkes and your Kit Haringtons and your Nikolaj Coster-Waldau's. Everybody was there. Also, even past cast members.
Like Jason Momoa.
Who took all the pictures, by the way.
He was having a good time.
Who played Khal Drogo, like 80% of the pictures that came from this party were from him. And
it's
like
great.
His Instagram and his Twitter. I mean, he was having a lot of fun, obviously. Lifting Emilia Clarke, lifting Kit Harington above the Iron Throne. That's him and Peter Dinklage and David Benioff, the producer, in a lick train. I don't know how I describe that.
I don't know if lick train is, I mean, it's got to be.
I like it personally.
I mean, that more power to you, Dan.
The term.
Okay. Very clear about that.
And also, it's kind of notable. I included the one at the bottom right-hand corner because that's Rory McCann. That's the Hound.
Yep.
We haven't seen him at all.
No.
On the filming trail this year. I'm sure he's of course in the season, but they've been keeping him quiet.
It's true.
So he was there looking at Jason Momoa as he dipped his beard in.
I'm gonna guess that's Guinness. No, it's Guinness.
It's a Guinness. It's on a milkshake.
Guinness.
Okay.
Jason Momoa is a noted Guinness enthusiast. So, not that I know that for any reason.
What does that mean? Why would you know that?
Because he once drank Guinness on Jimmy Kimmel and then threw axes to promote Frontier.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They brought him a Guinness on set.
So he got drunk and then he threw axes?
He wasn't, I don't know if he was drunk necessarily, but he was definitely drinking while throwing.
All right. Well,
nobody died.
He's a fun, intense guy.
He is.
Anyway,
Moving on.
It wasn't just them. It was also Sean Bean was there, as Lisa points out. And I mean, if you bring back, the original big honcho of Game of Thrones, obviously that spells finality to me.
Yeah.
And does. Mark Addy, who was Robert Baratheon.
Bobby B was there.
Everyone was there. It's very intense. And again, you look at these pictures and you're like, oh, they're having so much fun. But also, oh, this is it.
Yep.
It's over.
Yep.
Which is
kind of wild.
A mix of emotions.
Definitely.
I think one day I'm just going to be like taking a shower or walking the dog. It's going to hit me. Like, oh my God, it's over. It's going to drop what I'm doing. The dog's going to walk across the street. And I'm just going to be a little shell-shocked for a second.
Have a moment, if you will.
Have a moment, exactly.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling about the end of the show? Like, has it sunk in for you yet?
Yeah.
My pen. I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, do tell us.
But, of note, even though they're having this wrap party, they are not done filming.
No.
And we know that because the enormous King's Landing set nearby is still pretty hopping.
There have been some changes to make the inevitable David Bowie reference.
That wasn't inevitable, but I'm glad you made
yes, it was.
Sure, disagree. What do you
let
think?
Let me have my moment here.
We have a new kind of chemistry. It's
exciting.
Anyway, so at the King's Landing set, this giant thing they've built, they're not finished. So I'm guessing that they must have just had the party just because it worked timing-wise for people.
I mean, it is a big cast. And
yeah. So here we got a dome modeled off one in Dubrovnik that they built, and then it went from that, and after the crew got done with it, it was reduced to a flaming husk of its former self. We can see on the screen over there. So obviously, what does this tell us?
There's a lot of destruction happening in King's Landing.
Buildings that were built are now unbuilt. You know, things, there are also towers that are getting like flamed all over the place.
And it's carefully constructed to look just damaged. They're not really doing it in kind of an orderly, methodical way.
And again, it's not like this is new information,
but
the clear, conclusion from looking at that is dragons. I mean, what else flies and just blasts buildings from above and explodes? We also have one, let's see. Oh, well, Daniel says wildfire. That's possible too.
That's true.
I mean, it's like there are several things all over the place that are blackened.
Right.
Like the guard towers and this dome. I'm thinking it's got to be dragons.
Right. And I think wildfire would engender too many comparisons to things in like season 6 because of Winds of Winter, especially.
Sure.
So I think wildfire is not, it's not that it's not impossible. I think it would just kind of be lazy, so to speak, to do it again.
Really?
Because the Winds of Winter, like that first sequence is so
kind of
perfect.
Impactful. It really is kind of perfect.
It's kind of perfect that to kind of rehash it for season 8 would kind of feel like a cop-out.
Interesting.
Give me my dragons.
I will say,
I want my dragons.
It's impressive that we've gone all this time without dragons attacking like a city in Westeros.
Yeah,
In a way, Game of Thrones has incredible restraint. It took them a long time to get up to that.
Now, there's a sentence I never thought I'd hear.
I think it's true. I think in many ways they hold back on things.
Right, they do. And I think...
narratively, not in terms of,
showing
nudity
things.
and violence.
Yeah. But I think from other photos we've seen, it's pretty clear that we're doing the dragon thing, finally.
Wait, there actually is a picture of a dragon rig. Just a big green... Yeah, there it is. It's a big green monster. The thing that Emilia Clarke gets on top of and pretends is a dragon flying through the air. So just, it's pretty much 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
The only question is, what kind of dragon is it? Alive, dead? No idea.
Right. The thing is, I've seen fans who have put up comparison photos, and it seems like this one is bigger.
It does.
So that kind of leads me to think it's Daenerys and Drogon, because I don't think undead dragons can grow anymore. That's just a hunch. I mean, I'm sure there's some magical explanation, but my gut says that it's more likely, at least, to be Daenerys and Drogon.
Well, it's curious because, I mean, the season 8 is supposed to be like a part 2 of season 7. I'm not sure Drogon should have grown that much more anyway. So
they're magic.
That is the thing you can always say.
Yeah, and they're not really that old yet. They're still growing.
They're quite young.
Yeah,
Balerion the Black Dread. The Jinx. Grew to...
Who owes whom a soda?
You could fit a whole wagon in his open mouth.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Dragons can be huge, and we've been told over and over that Drogon is the biggest of the 3. We've seen him become the biggest of the 3. So I don't think it's impossible that he has a little growth spurt. Maybe the cold weather just does something good for him, and he just, he eats a little more and grows a little bit bigger and stronger and whatnot.
we'll see. But someone's visiting the King's Landing. I'm curious to see who it'll be.
Yeah.
Also, Julie has a great comment I thought about the end of it. I'm kind of glad it hasn't been on yet, that being the show.
Right.
Otherwise, it would be all over, and I don't want it to end. That is going to be something I think we'll all grapple with in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah. 2019.
Yeah.
It's not that far away. We're halfway through 2018 already.
But you're right. They are going to have those spinoffs right on tap.
Pretty much.
They know where their bread is buttered.
They do. I'm glad at least that they're letting Game of Thrones kind of end on its own terms, though.
Yeah, totally, me too.
Because otherwise it would be...
I mean, The Walking Dead's dragging on and just no one likes it anymore.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it very hard.
Come at me, Undead Walking. Just
Come at him, not me.
Anyway, Cheryl, I think this was a very successful first round.
Great, I haven't been kicked off the show yet?
No, so far it's really gone well.
Nailed it.
Thank you guys for watching the Cheryl portion of the evening. She'll be back next week. We all will for more news. But for now, let's bring on Fansided's own Josh Hill.
Josh Hill.
With whom we talk each week about A Song of Ice and Fire. We walk through each chapter of the books, mining it for what does it mean? What's the deeper text here? How does George R. R. Martin write? All these juicy literary questions you thought you'd avoided in high school English, they're all back. And we're going to talk about them. Josh, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. Very good. How are you, everybody? Hello, everybody out there.
That's right. And this week we read 2 chapters. One kind of mellow, one not mellow at all. We read John 6. We're still on a Game of Thrones, the first book in the series. We read John 6, and we read Eddard. We're up to 14 Eddard chapters now.
We're running low on Eddard chapters, though.
Running low?
Days are numbered.
Do you know how many there are left? Or anything?
I don't, but I'm assuming that there's probably too many.
Are you surprised that we read this much?
It doesn't feel like. It feels like we just started it yesterday.
It kind of. I mean, you might be saying sarcastically, but it kind of does. Like
it does. We've been flying through
it.
It's been nice, yeah.
Maybe we could slow down. I don't know. But okay, so John 6, the first of our chapters. Yeah. To me, purely kind of one of those character and Julie says hi to you. Don't get to say hi, which she did not. You're doing a great job of that. Well. I mean, this is just the chapter where John gets assigned a job, and then takes his vows, and then a dog has a human hand, and that's about it.
Mouth, yeah, not a whole lot happened in this chapter, but I think it's fitting with that theme of not a whole lot happens
at the wall,
wall in the north. So I didn't mind it, and it's pushing the story forward.
It is.
So John's being established more and more as a leader. We're getting more, or somebody who's being set up to be a leader character. And also he's building his relationship with Sam.
Totally.
This kind of buddy cop thing that they've got going on. So it wasn't a terribly interesting chapter, but it did give you the information that you needed out of it.
It did. I mean, also it works because I think it's sandwiched between 2 Ned chapters. And those are the ones where things are happening. In the last week, Ned's trying to set up a coup and trying to warn Cersei to leave. Then this next chapter, he gets betrayed. So we have these 2 action things. Then we have the John one in the middle, which is kind of like mellow, just like hanging out. What jumped out to me was all the world building. A lot of the religious aspects, actually. I don't know how into the religions of Westeros you are, but I feel like they were very highlighted during this chapter. So we have this scene where John and his compatriots go into the Sept, right, which is their version of a church. And the Lord Commander Mormont gives them their job assignments. Like, you're with the Rangers who go off and find things beyond the wall. You're with the builders who maintain the wall. You're with the stewards who, make our meals and stuff. Which, by the way, did you get, the sorting hat ceremony from that? Or
a little bit. I was getting a little sorting hat-ness out of there.
I kind of was. It was it couldn't have been because it's 2 years before Harry Potter, but it felt like that to me a bit. Anyway, and it happens in a sept, which is their version of church. That's not on the show. In the show, it just happens in the open yard. And I was just struck by how much more important the religions are, or at least more spotlighted in the books than they are in the show. Like, everything has a religious aspect to it. I mean, we have this drunken Septon character in here who's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Who, I don't think he has one line, but he presides over it. He's not in the show at all. And then when John takes his vows, it's in front of the heart tree, that weird tree that has the face on it that you see in the show. And I think we're being fed this information, that there are these religions in Westeros. We got the old gods who are all about the trees and the children of the forest, and that's what Bran gets involved in. Then we have the new gods. That's all the faith militants and the seven, all that.
Yeah.
Did you pick this up from the show, or is this anything that you're getting deeper into or noticed in the books or on the show?
No, I didn't pick up as much of the religious, not even just the allegories, just the religiousness, I guess, of the religiosity of the show. No, that was definitely more in the book that I was getting this, which is why it was one of the more interesting aspects of the chapter. Was
I thought so.
Kind of putting in this whole, definitely, we've talked a lot about the class difference between the Lannisters, King's Landing, the South, and people of the North.
Right.
And that's highlighted again here in the religions. You've got everybody in the North is very, the old gods, very nature-centric, and then you've got the South, which is very almost radicalized and, more biblical in the way that it approaches things. So,
I mean, if you want to go with the historical parallels, the South, the Seven, that whole thing, that's Catholicism.
Yep.
And then the old gods are like the Druids that the Catholics didn't quite push into.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's the metaphor he's going for.
I think so.
Which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I dig. I mean,
it was good.
I like the historical. I don't know if you're interested in the historical comparison stuff, but I've always found it very interesting. So there's that. And then there's someone like Sam, who was raised as a Faith of the Seven guy, as a Catholic, but then he goes up here and he says his vows in front of the heart tree. So he's basically converting to the old gods, which I think is symbolically important because he's, joining the Night's Watch. That's a big change. Yeah. And of course it ties him closer to Jon, who he will be close to for the rest of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I liked that. It was, again, kind of going back to the deepening of their relationship. It's really the coming together here in the name of their Lord, I guess. So
their Lord.
It was nice though. Yeah. So again, Jon's character is clearly going in one direction. We're seeing it being developed, and I feel like when Sam was first introduced on the show, I remember it being kind of like, this is just Jon's fat friend.
Yeah.
Whereas here in the book,
feels like it in the book a little bit too.
It does, but so with something like this, I'm also getting more texture with his character because he's making this decision to go and convert from things that he used to know to basically he's hitching his wagon to Jon in more than one way.
He totally is, yeah.
So, and it was kind of like that cool little, bonding of them. And you could also view it as Sam being a pushover and being like, I'm converting, but...
I mean, or just like being someone who has attached himself to Jon. He's like that kid who's there and he's out of place.
Yep.
And he's fat and he's like, bookish and doesn't really do good with the warrior stuff they're all into. And he has like a cool popular friend in Jon.
Yeah.
Cool popular emo friend, I guess. But, there might be like a small bit of hero worship going on, that kind of thing. I could see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jon's big thing in this chapter is... So he's assigned his job. He gets assigned to the stewards, who are the people who, they maintain the horses and cook the meals. They don't do the cool stuff.
No.
And he's a bit outraged. Why is he so upset?
You tell me, Dan, because I feel like we've got a fun little part of the show coming up here.
All right. I mean, Jon gets ticked off because he wants to be in the Rangers.
Yep.
He wants to be the people who ride beyond the wall and, get to ride around and fight wildly and stuff that. He wants to do the cool stuff, use the sword. And he gets all in a big snit about it, and he is 14.
Yeah.
And
Jon.
Totally emo Jon. He suspects Alliser Thorne, who hates him, has leaned on the commander to give him this crappy job assignment. But the twist is that he's wrong. That they're putting him in the steward so he can be the personal attendant to the Lord Commander, which means he'll be at the center of everything. And Sam has to kind of calm him down and say, this is a good thing. Like, they want you to be a leader. They're grooming you.
Yep.
You're going to be near the Lord Commander all the time. But it takes Sam to kind of make Jon pay attention enough, or to look past his just immediate, what the hell's going on here reaction, to notice this is a good thing. How did that strike you?
It went back to the whole Sam's relationship with Jon thing to me, where we're giving Sam purpose in this friendship and in this story, because without him, Jon's just emo and flying off the rails, and he's got a whole bunch of problems. Whereas Sam is
touchy,
centering him more. He's more of like the yin to his yang, I guess, or like the angel on his shoulder being like, just relax, calm down. And so I really appreciated that about the way that we're building up Sam, and more than just this is his sidekick. This is like he's actually influential in Jon's rise as a leader. So because that's true, it's like we're building him up to be this leader, this main character, especially with the hindsight of knowing what happens to Ned and knowing that the story doesn't have a traditional main character or traditional hero character. Sam is kind of instrumental in building up this new hero character to kind of exist in this whole game that we're playing. But it struck me as important, and it struck me as the way it came across. It didn't feel any other way than natural. So
I mean, it totally worked because it was true to who they are as people. And it's also a dynamic that I think you can find elsewhere in the story. Like, it kind of reminds me of the Daenerys Tyrion dynamic, where she's more hot-headed and he's like, slow down, let's think about this.
I didn't even think of that,
Something else. I mean, it really, that dynamic, like the hot-headed, cool action hero and then like the nerd who helps him, that's throughout fiction. That's like James Bond and Q. That's other folk I'm sure we could think of if we took the time to do it.
James Bond and Q, that's good.
Right? Like that was good. That was right now.
I like that.
Right. I mean, it's just a tried and true dynamic. Like the nerd and the jock kind of thing, or the jock and the nerd kind of thing. Like you always have that dynamic. Or like the leader and the counselor. And it's forming up early here. And it'll prove important.
Yeah.
Anything else about this chapter stick out to you?
No.
The dog at the end.
Well, I mean, that's obviously
nice,
stuck
hand
out.
In his hand. That's a nice way to end it.
The nice cliffhanger that we've got here. With
it
the
is,
hand in the mouth.
And like a really nasty way to end your initiation ceremony.
Yeah, but again, fitting for the wall.
I suppose so. It's
the
like
violence and brutality of the wall.
They can't have nice things. It's like they're trying to just say their vows, and then like they get a human hand brought up. All right, let's move on to the juicier chapter, I think, of the two. Ned 14. 14 in.
Yeah.
All right, this is a really big one. So what goes down here?
We have Robert dying, obviously.
Finally dies off screen completely. Don't see him at all.
Off page completely.
Whatever.
So, and then basically through a series of events, we have Joffrey basically seizing power through
Cersei.
Cersei and Joffrey together, their power coupling.
Right.
Or however you want to describe that.
It's Game of Thrones. Incest is fine.
Yeah, but this is like third degree incest because it's like
any kind.
He's a product of incest.
One story where just maybe this and Arrested Development make more incest jokes or just references than any other things I can think of.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones is the dramatic Arrested Development.
The dramatic, yeah. But Joffrey and Cersei are basically seizing the power here through Ned, who tries again to do things by the letter of the law and gets overruled to the point where his men are killed. And Littlefinger has revealed himself to be against Ned, but not really revealed because he told him, like, he's like, dude, I told you.
He said, don't trust me. And he did say that. You can go back in the early chapters. Like, I think the line was, thanks, Littlefinger. I didn't trust you. And he was like, not trusting me was the smartest thing you ever did.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of revealed here. Where the whole plan was, Ned asked Littlefinger, okay, go and pay off the City Watch, the Gold Cloaks, to back me up. Because I know Cersei's going to pull something. So Robert dies, and immediately Cersei moves to put Joffrey on the throne. And she gets her guys to back her up. The Hound is on the Lannister side at this point. She got some King people. She got some Lannister guardsmen.
Renly's gone.
Renly hightailed out of there intelligently, probably. And then Ned needs men. Ned needs backup. So he has Littlefinger pay the people off to be his soldiers. And he spends a long time, Martin, setting up the scene. He kind of tells us where everyone is in the space. And Ned saw these Lannister guardsmen over here and saw the Hound in his armor. And the Queen was wearing this. And Joffrey was wearing this. But, I outnumber them. The city guard, I have them 2-1. But, obviously, Littlefinger does not follow through. He does not pay them off to help with Ned. The second Ned kind of moves in, they kill all of his men, the few that he had left. And then it ends with Littlefinger drawing Ned's own dagger, just pretty neat, putting it to his throat and saying, you shouldn't trust me, you idiot. I feel like this is just kind of a continuation of what we've always seen, where Ned is playing it by the book, and we keep getting these kind of flashing lights, or at least retrospect, they're flashing lights, that he's making the wrong call, but he goes for it anyway. Like, there's a lot of moments in here where he kind of seems flabbergasted, and I feel like he shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. Like in very early bits, he sees Cersei's men still fighting in the yard, and he's like, damn her, why is the woman not fled? I've given her chance after chance. Mm-hmm. In his head, it's still, Cersei should be afraid of me, because I'm going to get one over on her. He's not thinking, I need to do something to stop her. So he's like, why hasn't she left? He's thinking, like, why haven't I left?
Yeah.
Like, and again, when they say that Renly's gone, he's like, Renly's gone, I was counting on his support.
Yeah.
Like, why were you counting on his support? Mm-hmm. He offered you his support. You said, I'm not going to do that nasty thing, taking kids from their beds. Mm-hmm. And then it's not surprising he get out of there, because he knows how dangerous Cersei is. So it's this cavalcade of, like, what could Ned have done differently?
Yeah, I couldn't help but draw a lot of analogies to current political state in this here. And this goes 1997, 96, whenever he wrote it. It was like years before this. And I'm talking specifically about like the 2016 election here in the United States and leading up to, or you could Brexit, I guess you could do it for our international audience. But the idea that
where's it going?
There's absolutely no way that Donald Trump was going to win the election, and that the Democrats and Hillary Clinton, everybody played by the books. They played politics the way that it's supposed to be played. You play the game the way it's supposed to be played. The right people are going to end up winning. And when Donald Trump won, everybody was like, how did this happen? Flabbergasted. They're like, this shouldn't happen. This is absolutely wrong. But he played dirty. You play dirty, you win. And that's exactly what Cersei and everybody's doing here. You get into bed with the right people who are going to be on your side, who at the right moment are going to flip and do what you want them to do. And if you're not 5 steps ahead and you're not willing to get your hands dirty a little bit, or at least acknowledge that that's the way the game's being played, you're going to lose. And you can't just sit there like Ned was doing and say, why is she still doing it this way? This is unfair.
Right.
That's how you literally lose your head. So, because that's what happens to Ned. And that's kind of I was struck by how much that lined up with, and that's across history too, not just, it's just recency bias.
Betrayals happen.
Betrayals of this happen to the point of, it shouldn't happen this way, but Ned never once broke from, it shouldn't be happening this way, it won't happen this way.
Right. She never once said, let's find a different way for me to do it.
To the point where, like, everybody was up in arms about certain things that happened leading up to, like, the 2016 election about, like,
intense.
Yeah, I know. Like, I remember people, a big story was, like, with Barack Obama not saying things about Hillary Clinton's emails. Okay, and how it was like, that would be playing dirty politics. You can't pick a side. You can't get involved. And then on the flip side, you have Ned, who, because he thinks it's the right thing to do, tells Cersei his entire plan when they're meeting. He's like, this is what I'm going to do.
And then doesn't air her dirty laundry, the incest thing,
and he
wants her to get away.
And that's the decent thing to do. That's the thing that you're supposed to do if you're playing the game right. But Ned doesn't understand the rules of the Game of Thrones that he's in. And now he's completely lost in it. And now we're seeing what happened in this chapter. So it was kind of interesting to me, if we're talking about like historical comparisons with the things with the wall and the religion and everything like that.
The Druid.
It was, maybe I was grasping at straws, but the more I thought about it, I was like, this is like, things are lining up here with just a cool comparison. Not like George R. R. Martin was predicting the future.
There are no incorrect comparisons. There are no stupid analogies. They do love it. Okay, so according to you, Cersei and Andor Joffrey are Donald Trump, and Ned is Hillary Clinton. I wonder if our viewers will take that. By the way, Harold agrees. He said that Harold says that Ned overplayed his hand.
Yep.
He talked too much. That's perfect. He could have just gone home, which is one of the options he had.
It was.
So I want to point out 2 more moments. The first bit, I really like this bit with Cersei, where Ned goes in. He has Robert's will. He's had Barristan Selmy, a trustworthy dude, read it earlier, and he read it out loud, the true thing, like, Ned is the protector of the realm till my heir comes of age, and he has him hand it to Cersei, thinking, okay, well, this is the king's will. This is the law. This is what matters. This is the letter of, like, literally the letter of the law, and it says, I'm in charge. But, and again, he assumes that everybody will abide by the letter of the law.
Exactly.
What does Cersei do? She just tears it up.
Rips it up.
That's it. Just tears it up. There's like, no. I would rather Joffrey be in the throne. This doesn't say that, so I'm just going to ignore it. And that works.
It does.
Like, that's fine, because, again, the lesson here is it's not about the way it's supposed to go or the way the law prescribes it to go. It's about who can take power and keep it, like by any means necessary. It doesn't matter if you do it by the law, it's great. It's one way to do it, but you don't have to. And if the law gets in your way, just tear it up. You're fine.
I wonder what that sounds like.
Ooh, it's more of this stuff.
More. It just ties all back to
Will A Song of Dan and Josh get overtly political? Tune in to find out.
I just love it. The way that it lines up. It was, I don't know.
I mean, I think the moment was great.
It was entertaining.
It's such a power move, but it's such a small gesture.
It's such a Cersei move,
but
too.
It's a total Cersei move. But it's like a small, tiny gesture. It's one sheet of paper, but it says a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's a powerful thing with exerting no force. It's like, bloop, bloop, and the whole thing is upended.
And that was like yet another moment where you're like, Ned's just cooked. Like, here he's literally, like you said, the letter of the law, and it's like that. You can't play the game that way. He's too small for the greater game here being played. And
then the other bit is, even after that, Cersei does give him one more out. She says, I'm going to paraphrase, bend the knee to Joffrey, and we will allow you to live out your life in that gray waste you call the North. Kind of condescending advice, but it is a way out. Even then, he could have just bent the knee and then just gone home.
Yeah.
Like, as some commenters seem to think he should have.
Do you believe that she actually would have let him go back home, though?
I do. I completely do. I don't think Cersei wanted the war. Joffrey's the one who ends up kind of setting it off because he kills Ned. Cersei's like, okay, I want power.
Yeah.
But if I kill this guy, then his son will get all mad and he'll come down with an army, which he does. So she knows, okay, keep him alive. Don't ruffle feathers. Just send him home. He doesn't need to be here. It's Joffrey who actually... Because remember, at the execution, the intention is to pardon Ned, just to send him north and send him to the Night's Watch. It's Joffrey who goes crazy and kills him. No, I don't think Cersei wanted to kill him. I do think she would have let him go home, his tail between his legs, and just pacify the situation. But he refuses that, so we have the little slaughter instead. Of course he does, yes. So, and again, that's what I love about the series and this event in particular, that... There's a lot of different... It's no one person's fault.
Yeah.
Like, part of it is Ned not realizing things. Part of it is Cersei maneuvering, so he's in jail in the first place. Part of it's Joffrey's unpredictable...
Flying off the handles.
Flying off the handle and killing somebody for fun. Like, it's all these combinations of things that lead to this death. It's not one thing. And I think that's true to life.
Yeah.
Like, it's never one person's fault. Like, events are freaking complex. It's interrelated. Okay. I don't have anything else to say. I think I definitely forgot it. I've been very passionate about Trump and everything. Blah, 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 blah. No, I think that's about it.
It was a very powerful chapter.
Oh, I want to say about Joffrey. We kind of like get the first real glimpse of him here.
Yeah.
When, up till now, he's been a little jagweed, but he hasn't done any, he hasn't murdered anybody yet. But when he's in the throne, he's on the Iron Throne, and Ned is not bowing to him, and it's becoming clear that he is going to try to take the throne for himself. Joffrey just yells, "Kill him!" The boy kings scream from the Iron Throne. "Kill all of them! I command it!" And I was like, oh, there he is.
There he is, yeah.
So we'll see a lot more of that Joffrey as we go
Joffrey.
on. I mean,
bratty Joffrey with power now.
It's like the combination of a little jagweed brat plus way too much power.
Oh, yeah.
Is what Joffrey ends up being. And it's going to be a fun time.
Well, for some people.
For Joffrey.
For Joffrey, it'll be a fun time.
And your thoughts on this Ned 14's crucial chapter, Josh?
I think I've said all I need to say about it.
You said a lot. You said some interesting stuff.
I'm really into that. I'm probably going to write something about it now.
Yeah, totally do it.
I was like, this is something.
Absolutely.
Rile up the folks of the internet with some Game of Thrones.
Go ahead.
Rile up the folks of the internet to read. There we go.
There we go.
Bringing people together.
By the way, if anybody's here reading with us, I think it's pretty cool. You should keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's Joffrey. Oh, okay. And Julie said it's Joffrey's fault for being a little... Then there are some symbols. Pissant? I don't know. We'll find out.
Find out next week.
For next week, I think we should read the next two chapters, Arya and Sansa.
Okay.
So the aftermath. What happens to his daughters after this goes down.
Yeah.
We'll pick up next week here at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Winter Spring Facebook page for more of Take the Black Live and more of A Song of Dan and Josh. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.
Yep.